Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for December 18, 2023. And in the news this evening, District Constable gets a 6 months imprisonment for misusing gas card. A district constable has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment or a fine of $100,000 for using a Jamaica Constabulary Force petrol advance card to pay for fuel for his personal motor vehicle. Aquino Barnes was sentenced last Thursday, stemming from his conviction on March 14 in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court for the charge of larceny as a servant. He was arrested and charged by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency in 2012. The trial, which began in 2016, relied heavily on investigation by MOCA agents as well as a critical testimony from 6 witnesses. In delivering the sentence, presiding judge at the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court, Chief Parish Judge Chester Crooks, commended the MOCA team for its professionalism, thoroughness, and dedication in carrying out the investigation. Bog Walk residents demand compensation for Rio Cobre oil spill. Residents and the fisherfolk in Bog Walk, St. Catherine, on Monday staged a protest to voice their discontent over 2 recent oil spills in the Rio Cobre, which have adversely impacted their livelihoods. The initial spill occurred on December 11, followed by a second incident on December 15, 2023. Users of the river for commercial, recreational, and domestic purposes claim significant disruption to their activities due to the spills. The National Environment Planning Agency has issued a warning advising against using the river until the spills are cleared. On Monday, protesters proceeded from Bogwalk Square to the main gate of Tradewinds Citrus Limited, the entity identified by NEPA as being responsible for the December 11 spill. They were demanding compensation for their income loss. Friends of the Rio Cobre president, Kestanard Gordon, who led the protest, also called for NEPA to impose an environmental performance bond on all the factories that operate near the Rio Cobre. In response to the environmental infractions, NEPA has served an enforcement notice on Tradewind Citrus and informed the company that legal actions would ensue. Senior cops are not considering industrial action despite wage issues, says POA. The Police Officers Association says its members are not contemplating industrial action despite being restive about the delay in obtaining an increase in their on-call allowance. Members of the public have expressed a concern after news emerged that gazetted officers are restive in light of the need for heightened security during the Christmas holiday period. Head of the POA, Senior Superintendent Wayne Cameron, who sought to allay fears while speaking Monday with the news, said while the cops are agitated, they remain committed and resolute to their job. However, he said the association will continue to press for the issues of the cops to be addressed.
We have never had any discussions about taking any form of actions, industrial actions of any form. And the officers of the DCF, the capital officers, remain committed and resolute to their job. In the meantime, as an executive, we have been elected to do this, and we have to ensure that we do what we were elected to do, representation. And if we are being disregarded, then we really need to get the attention of the minister. He needs to sit down with us. We expect to finalize these sooner. That is what we are about.
Councillors flee GPS after learning Mapen Hospital without power for half a day. Councillors at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation were left shocked and dumbfounded when their colleague Joel Williams of the Jamaica Labour Party in the Denby Division reported that Mapen Hospital had no electricity for hours last Wednesday. Williams made the report during the corporation's monthly sitting on Thursday as they discussed the status of streetlights in the parish. I want to bring to the attention of this council that the Mapen Hospital was out of electricity for almost the entire day yesterday. They were calling GPS with no success. So someone called me and one called GPS customer service representative, Corinne Jackson, and within less than 5 minutes, they were able to call me back to say the GPS team was on the compound, said Williams. I commend Ms. Jackson even though that was not her responsibility, but she is the only person I could call. Mr. Chairman, I am not sure who has responsibility for that area, but I am going to ask you to write to that person and ask that every council meeting, someone is here to report to us on street lights. We cannot continue to pressure Ms. Jackson, and the person who has that responsibility is not answering to us, said the obviously peeved councillor. Councillor Carlton Bailey of the People's National Party Milk River Division also used the opportunity to air his grouses as he complained that there are several streetlights in his division that need urgent attention. There are a number of poles that are toppling over, and you report it, and nothing is done. But even when I stand at the location and report it via the app, it's still asking for my account number. Some adjustment needs to be made to the app where you can input the information at the exact location and the GPS coordinates pick it up, he said. Ms. Jackson is the only person that pays us some attention, and it is sad, very sad, because Clarendon is under SOE, and based on that you can tell that criminal activities have stepped up. So we need the lights. People are afraid to go out at night now. The weakness is that there is no GPS office in the third largest parish. You can't leave it open so. Whoever took that decision should be fired, Bailey argued. Clarendon is one of the parishes left without a GPS office after the utility company closed 7 locations in 2021. Known tissue shortage, says Tufton amid U.S. woman's complaints. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has requested an update to gain clarity on a recent incident where a U.S. woman shared her dissatisfaction with the level of health care she received at a local hospital. In a now viral video, the woman expressed frustration over the unmet request for tissue, highlighting a shortage in the hospital's bathrooms. I need some tissue. I have been asking for tissue ever since I've been here. There's no tissue in any of the bathrooms. No one is giving me any tissue, she said. I also need another diaper. I'm actually mad because I'm using paper towels. This shouldn't be like pulling teeth, she was also heard saying before being informed that the items she was requesting were considered personal items. In response to the video, Dr. Tufton stated on his Twitter page that he has requested an update on the situation, emphasizing that tissue is always provided for patients. Tufton also highlighted that it is against the hospital policy for videos to be taken inside the facilities. The minister emphasized that the tissue is generally provided for patients, but due to instances of patients taking tissue from bathrooms, it is sometimes offered upon request. He also denied rumors of a current tissue shortage, stating that the Western Regional Health Authority warehouse in Montego Bay has over 1,700 cases of domestic tissue in stock and 1,500 cases on order. The tissues are distributed weekly to all hospitals, Tufton stated. No let-up for farm thieves. Legislators propose a $3 million fine or 3 years in prison. Legislators continued to talk tough on prairie larcenists as they debated on Friday at length on the Agricultural Produce Amendment Act 2023, which seeks to curb the scourge of farm theft with the imposition of stiffer penalties. The bill, which proposes increase the charges for prairie larceny from $250,000 or 3 months in prison to $3 million or 3 years in prison, was passed in the House of Representatives in November. The senators in the upper house followed suit on Friday with their stamp of approval. During the extensive debate, which saw 7 legislators making contributions, it was highlighted that prairie larceny had gone on for far too long, and a stop must be put to it immediately. Opposition Senator Lambert Brown, who returned to the Senate with his usual force after a long bout of illness, contended that it's a long time we're fighting the 2-foot post, long time we're fighting prairie larceny. He lamented that the last amendments to the legislation were made in 2004, almost 20 years ago, noting that it has taken a long time for the improved measures to come. Brown said that while he supports what the legislation is seeking to achieve, he is concerned about the effectiveness of the bill in deterring prairie larcenists. We support the bill, but we want to caution that the critical success factor is enforcement. We're lacking in vehicles, we're lacking in manpower. we're lacking in intelligence, and if we fix those, we will do service to the farmers, for which they will be grateful and continue to produce, he said. Until we build security force that is sufficient to scare and frighten the criminals, to change the odds where the criminals feel they can succeed against the poor farmers. Until we do that, we will come back and talk 20 years from now about the predatory larcenists and the fact that we have not won the battle against them, he added. But in piloting the bill, leader of government business in the Senate, Kamina Johnson-Smith, said this is the very thing the amendments to the legislation seek to address, strengthening the government's measures to put an end to predatory larceny, which is estimated to be costing Jamaican farmers up to $5 billion in losses per annum. The aim is to ensure that our farmers are the primary beneficiaries of their hard work. It is a serious problem that has been plaguing the agricultural sector for decades, and we are moving to stiffen the penalties to deter would-be predatory larcenists and to punish those caught more harshly, she said.